Welcome to the 4th annual Corvacon. Thank you so much for coming. I'm more than energized than ever for the future of the energy industry. Sorry, little technical difficulties there. This year we have a great lineup of speakers, including Ryan Prouty with NASA, and a series of impactful discussions led by over 25 experts across the energy sector. There will be plenty of food, drinks, and entertainment throughout the day, so please indulge and have fun. We also have a new showcase alley where Corva and partners will be showing off apps like a show and tell, so be sure to visit that. Corva is about three things: collaboration, community, and connection. When it comes to innovation, our industry's digital transformation doesn't take place in a vacuum, and we want to do our part to support fostering a community of like-minded digital innovators. We want to encourage collaboration in a meaningful way. Right now, we have too much experience and knowledge sitting under one roof, and we want to make the most out of it. Let's skip the long line of lecture series, and instead, let's actively collaborate through an exchange of best practices, openly discussing challenges that our industry is facing, and discuss new ideas and solutions. Today, our industry is evolving arguably faster than ever before. Going back to 2015, we began seeing a tremendous escalation with themes around speed in operations, increasing efficiencies, and doing more with less, not to mention big movements around digitization and sustainability. And there are two powerful components that link all of this together: people and data. Our industry has always had vast amounts of data at our fingertips, but it has only increased substantially with the growth of digital technologies. And this has created more opportunities for our industry than ever before. Let's take a look at drilling first. Across the lower 48, over the past year, we're seeing several areas of improvement. Drilling operations with a 17% in on-bottom drilling speed, a 12% increase in footage drilled per day, and several other efficiencies that lead to reducing non-productive time. This is translated into cutting roughly 2 days and $170,000 in per well cost. Let's talk about the flip side. We're also seeing a 20% increase in rig costs, combined with a lack of rig inventory to support the increase in activity. And we also see an increase in connection times of about 16%. There could be many factors contributing to this, but one is probably undebatable, and that is we have a lot of green personnel in the field. Going back to the power of data, seeing this trend can help to focus on targeted training for crews to see the data and take action in real time. For example, we're seeing companies take the most efficient drillers and train their secondary personnel and do it faster by quickly seeing where there are areas to improve. Historically, we relied on accompaniment to log all the activities on location. Using data and technology, you can eliminate the rounding errors and get a completely agnostic view of efficiencies in the field. 3 minutes saved here and 3 minutes saved there, it really adds up in a good way at the end of the pad. On the offshore front, for shallow wells, we're seeing substantial time savings. In the past year, the average time to drill a 10,000-foot well was about 28 days. It was 38 days just a year ago. Pretty remarkable, and the savings are significant. You're looking at $3 million in savings per well. Every little bit adds up. Connection times improved about 45%, and on-bottom drilling speed improved nearly 7%, and total footage drilled significantly improved. It just gets better for deep water wells, where operators are on average experiencing nearly $4 million per well in savings. This is simply incredible. What will operators do with that time and cost savings? It's dependent on their current and future drilling programs, but it certainly opens the doors to a new world. Let's take a look now at unconventional completions. With high oil prices, many operators are adjusting completion strategies to bring their wells online as quick as possible. If we look at the Permian, although lateral lengths have remained flat, we've seen a decrease in the number of stages per well. Operators are addressing a bigger chunk at once, which results in less pumping time. On an average pad, we are now looking at saving a day of pumping time, which is huge. With these lower stage counts, there has been an increase in pounds of proppant. Crews are pumping, on average, 3% more proppant per day, and that's about 40 million pounds of proppant per year being used just in the Permian. The downside is that with an already limited supply of sand, this trend leads to a worry in supply chain management. Just 3 years ago, the U.S. rig count was a little over 2,000, compared to nearly 800 today, hitting a record low of 251 during the early days of the pandemic. Despite a moment of negative price oil insanity, our industry has been called upon to increase production output to meet the resurgence of global demand and energy security. With that comes many challenges and opportunities. As we proceed with measured determination, we are balancing new people coming to our industry, doing more with less, and continuing to put safety first across all operations. You can see this trend in how the industry has become more productive through the use of technology, data and analytics, and automation. Operators who used to run 5 rigs in an area and a few frac crews have rebounded with 3 rigs that can do the work of 5. We're seeing increased adoption in automated workflows to increase efficiencies, reduce manual data manipulation, and bridge the personnel gap. As we continue to pair people and data analytics, our industry will optimize and advance no matter the circumstances. Now, we're on to the next wave of innovation by incorporating AI, predictive analytics, and edge computing. Digital technologies are at the heart of this transformation, where we are turning data into knowledge to power real-time decision-making. Big data and analytics can only go so far by itself. It requires community, connection, and collaboration. Together, we'll continue to accelerate the future of energy, and that's what today is all about. Next up, I'm really excited to introduce someone that will shed some light on how digital solutions are powering innovation and the digital oil field. Please welcome James Brady, Chief Digital Officer at Baker Hughes.
Hey guys, oops, I need to talk to the microphone. They told me that too, but I forgot. I was gonna wander around and start doing all that thing, but I can't do that. So I'm gonna be good. But what I did do, I remembered, so I've got my Corvacon color on, so I thought that was pretty good. My slides aren't gonna be quite as cool as Ryan's, but I actually think Ryan was maybe a bit kind of understating the industry and how much we've really advanced and how much digital has done that. So I'm gonna maybe push the boundary a little bit, and you'll say, wow, Ryan's just too conservative. He just doesn't think out of the box. He doesn't really go fast enough. And I know he's smiling over that because he's mad. Anyway, so let's talk about some numbers. So first of all, let's talk about digital drilling, right? So digital drilling has a few key elements. I'm gonna get into one of them here and show some of its enablers, right? So digital drilling starts with the ability to actually make a digital twin or a model of the subsurface, a model of your equipment that has to basically bang through the subsurface, land, and then stay within a target, right? So this is something that's now, I'll say we do it, I'm going to guess that other people do it, but it's a key part of the drilling process, is to actually start with the data, to be able to create these mechanical models, to be able to have a database, a rich database that talks about bit performance, that talks about, how you can most efficiently, smash through rocks and then stay where you need to be, right? So this is common that we do. It's the whole digital twin thing. There's aspects of, again, being able to model your own bit performance, be able to understand the subsurface, and put it all together. So what does it get you? Well, it probably gets you things like you see in the middle. So this is in North America, a set of wells. Actually, within the last year or so, we've actually doubled our drilling speed by, again, applying some of these digital concepts, right? We call it, first we were doing MAD, one of our guys calls it a MAD well, which is a mile a day. We're now doing double MAD, and we're keep going, right? We think we can probably get 2.4, 2.5 MAD, but it doesn't sound so interesting. So probably on the horizon is maybe triple MAD, but then I think we're really ambitious. But the whole point is that the digital twins, all the preparation, all the modeling, go into a set of tools that help you basically drill probably faster than you may even want to. And we'll get to that in a bit, right? The last number, so 21,000 feet. Somebody told me that's a record, but I won't, for a single bit run, but I won't claim that. But I'll say it's still pretty darn impressive that you can get 21 linear measure depth out of a single bit run. And that actually included, staying in reservoir, right? So we had a whole set of digital tools that allowed us to stay where we want, right? But not so bad. But that's, again, because you have a digital twin, because you have a digital implementation. Yeah, there's some stuff in the cloud, all that. There's some stuff on the rig. There's some, obviously, smartness in the tools. And that's one of the messages about digital. It's not just some little application that's somewhere and now you're digital. Digital is really the ecosphere that we connect a process to, right? So you might be computing at the edge. There's some stuff going on at the rig, right? There's some stuff going on in a client's office in the drilling department. There's some stuff going on in the with the geologists. There's a lot of people that are involved in this in different places. And digital is the ability to provide access, data, throughout the entire process, and then execute that, whether it's the compute here, compute there, et cetera. So what's the piece that's missing? Next slide. It's actually the language. So this is a term I use in a lot of things. I call software as a language. And we especially see that now that digital is coming, and digital allows us to do things that we didn't have to do, that we couldn't do before. So all of a sudden, the language is much more important. So what do I mean by that? So you need to swiftly communicate between, say, the drilling service provider and its customers. The way you do that efficiently is through software, right? So you want to be able to very quickly present things to the customer so that they can actually decide and make decisions in that speed, right? So if you combine, we call it the decision time. So within our, it's called Lucida, but within our automated drilling stuff at the low level, we can actually send recommendations on steer commands, either directly to the BHA and the systems, but very often, especially when you're in a reservoir, what you really want to do is make sure that you get validation from the client about, here's a decision option, right? So we can reduce that now from 11 minutes to 1 minute, right? So 11 minutes is, okay, probably going to call the guy or something and give him some data to look at, right? 1 minute means that you have to have a good digital connection with the client that needs to make that decision. Can it go faster? Maybe. But you'll see this engagement, this digital engagement with the drilling process that's actually mandated because we're going so fast. It also, though, the software as a language, it gives you this ability to work with your customers in ways that are specific to that well. So Ryan and I were talking earlier about, kind of the whole plug-in concept around Corva and things like that. That's great, right? But these are often not just global things, right? As an operator, you say, there's certain things that we need to see, whether it's from a safety standpoint or just a speed or efficiency standpoint, that maybe is different in mid-con than it is on, some high temperature, high pressure well, gas well that's off, somewhere else. It's off in the Middle East, off Qatar or something, right? And so what you find in part of this language is you have to customize it for the drilling that you're doing or the geography that you're doing. So you need a digital mechanism to be able to work with your customer on specific problems or specific nuances of where you are. And that is through software. It's through maybe a local algorithm, maybe an algorithm that came from research, but you need to quickly apply that to your local regional problem or to your local regional solution. And so that form of collaboration needs to happen digitally, and it has to happen efficiently, and you want a platform to be able to do that with. You can call that joint innovation, you can call it just joint execution, what you will, but it really is software that facilitates that, and it's mandated now because of the speeds and efficiencies that we need to do. It also enables a broader community understanding. That was another thing Ryan mentioned, is community. Right, when your partners are using common software, when the lead operator is using common software, when the driller is using common software, there's also this language that you can speak digitally by making sure that everybody's on the same page, everybody's involved, and you're really communicating this in a live digital way. And that, again, is because of the speed we're going, but also because of the value of decision time quickly. And so that's what I mean by software as a language. Really, it's the way we will operate better. It's the way we'll communicate with, for us, our customers, many of whom are you. It's the way we will foster innovation. It's the way we will come up with custom, regional decisions that's, yes, enabled by certainly some of the things we as drilling service providers are doing, but actually falls on your lap even more as operators to be able to work with us on there. And finally, it's broad understanding, right? It's being able to collaborate as a much wider community of operators, of service providers. So that's really what I mean as software as a language. Thank you.
Thank you, James. It's really great to hear about the innovative digital advancements at Baker Hughes. To carry on the trend of doing more with less and relying data for better, safer operations, I'd like to introduce William Standiford, the Chief Executive Officer at IWS.
All right, good morning. So great to be at Corvacon again this year. Great to be using a microphone adjusted for shorter people. So hopefully you can all hear me okay. And I guess I'll start by continuing the theme of your Corvacon wear. So I brought my Corva socks from last year. I don't know if you can see those. So available in the lobby if you don't have your own set. So are you guys advancing the slides or am I? You are, okay. So let's talk a little bit about IWS, and then I want to share with you why we're such a fan of the Corva platform, Corva Completions in our case, and why we're here today. So intelligent wellhead systems, we're really focused on well site controls. So in a nutshell, we provide automation solutions that drive safety and efficiency at the well site. So we have electromechanical and pneumatic equipment that actually drives process control across the completions or frac location. And I'm not going to bore you with that if you're not a completions person, but this is really important piece of equipment because most of those processes are manual, prone to error, and they endanger lives in the environment when they're misappropriated. So we have things like valve position, handle position, valve lockouts. We also offer edge to cloud services, and we have a little bit of remote visualization and analytics. And I think if you look at that last bullet, you might say, well, then why are you guys at Corvacon? Because that's what Corva does. But in fact, we're really focused on this well site automation piece. And so let me share with you a little bit about what we did this year. So We had a minimally viable product that we put in the App Store. Last year, we were here with you all. Some of you saw it. We had it in a breakout room. It was very exciting. Like most minimally viable products, we were so proud of it, and when we showed it to some of our customers, some of you are here today, of course, they had like 1,000 things that was wrong with it. So we kind of went back to the drawing board, and we've been trying to improve it. But one of the things we did is we decided to participate in the Hackathon in July of this year. So our dev team is located in Calgary. Most of our operations are here in the US, but that's where our dev team is. So it's kind of a big deal. We flew them all down here. And what we wanted to get out of Hackathon was to improve our product knowledge. So if you're using the Corva platform and you're going to develop on it, it is really easy to use, but you still need some sort of native knowledge of the platform. We also need the human connections, which are super important. And I can't emphasize enough how great the Corva team was and how welcoming they are in terms of helping us get on the platform, helping us develop efficiently, and even helping us troubleshoot our products. We wanted to identify the barriers to future success. So we wanted to push the limits of the Corva platform. Again, we're an automation company. And so a lot of the work that Corva does is in the cloud or sort of away from operations. And so we wanted to experiment if we could push automation controls through the cloud back down to our field operations. And we wanted to prototype some new product integrations. So when you have control systems like we do, making changes to the software isn't nearly as easy as it is in the cloud because human safety, personnel safety is involved, right? So you can't just push a patch through the cloud and say, okay, we made an update. No, because if you made a mistake, it could cause a problem. And so what we wanted to do was look at how could we roll out these cloud-based products much more quickly for our customers and how Corva was a vehicle for us to do that without sort of messing with our automated control systems. So, why Corva Dev Center? I think the number one reason for us is really the popularity of the cloud platform. So we've been exposed to Corva for a number of years. I knew them from the well construction side of the business, knew they had a great operator following, knew they had a great service company following too. And so it's a popular platform. It doesn't matter if you love it or hate it. As an OFS provider, that's not my job. My job is to look at what our customers need, the operators, and then adapt our business to meet the operators on the ground they want to stand on. So there were a lot of operators standing on this ground saying, you guys need to be on this platform. We did find the dev environment really open and efficient when we did our minimally viable product. Tons of documentation again and tons of support. Again, I don't know that you can just sort of get on it and build something, but with a little bit of help, you can get on it and build something. Again, the team support. For us and IWS customers, which are growing every day, we really wanted to create optionality for them. There's a lot of ideas in this space. I think drilling, in my assessment, is probably 10 or 20 years ahead of completions. And so lots of people are trying to do things around completions analytics, completions visualization. We see very primitive interfaces from the providers on location, frac and wireline, and so Corva has a great interface, but at the end of the day, customers to us still look a little confused. Some of them are still reaching around, and we view Corva as a fantastic option when customers ask us about advanced analytics or criticize the sort of simple solution we have. It's very easy for us to say, look, here's a great analytics company with a huge following. Check out the Corva Completions platform, and that seems to work well. It's a great option for them. And then again, for us, it's speed to market. So this is the doing more with less. If your focus is on field hardware, provision of automating technologies, controls, at the well site, it's very difficult for you to divert resources to a cloud business because, again, you're so focused on what happens at the well site like we are. So because Corva Completions is 80% of the solution, we sort of add our piece on the top associated with our technology stack. That's going to allow us to get to market a lot faster with a lot of the requests we've had from customers. So customers ask us to add things at the well site, and then they instantly expect that to be available in the cloud or on their desktop. That's actually very challenging for us on our internal technology stack. But with Corva, we can spin up an app, get it on Corva Completions, and boom, the customer can have it in the cloud very quickly. So that's a huge advantage for us and one of the reasons that we're continuing to invest in participation. So I want to tell you about our project, but first, I want to tell you that we won for best idea, and so that's why you should pay attention. In this esteemed event that was full of pizza boxes and 6-packs of Red Bull, and our dev team sending me lots of screen captures and stuff as they were going on. And but we did bring home a trophy. If you come to our office, we have it. But we were super proud to be down here. But what they came up with is a lot of our customers have been asking for video surveillance. And I'm not talking about cameras. So lots of people have cameras. You have cameras at your home. We view video surveillance as a high-resolution, high-fidelity source of input data, right? And you can do a lot of different things with visible spectrum and non-visible spectrum. And so our expertise, again, we responded to that request from our customers by building what we call a module, which again, stuff that goes to the well site's expensive and more complicated silver box with lots of different kinds of cameras in it, including visible and non-visible spectrum stuff, you know, connected to our processing and telemetry system, all this stuff that gets a thermal image or another type of image and pushes it to the cloud. We basically had that built, but that's a long way from doing something, right? And so what we wanted to do was spin up a Corva app to look at how we could get this high-resolution visual data in the cloud for all these sort of processing workflows, which remote process validation. So did the person do this? I was out at a location with Athon, who's here today, just the other day, and we were talking about, you know, the frac company said they have this many pumps running, and you can actually look and see that they do or don't, because you can see the pistons going back and forth. You can see the heat off the turbos. You can see if somebody moved a valve. You can see if somebody's on location or not. You can see if somebody has the right hard hat sticker. So there are all these things when we talk about, you know, moving, calling frac and remote operations from the well site to town that can't be done with sort of traditional instrumentation like we think of like pressure transducers or very sort of linear data, right? You need a very rich, high frequency, high fidelity data source to do these things. Zone entry detection. So since we've deployed these systems, we have about 7 locations running our visual process now. The red zone, if you don't know, is where high pressure activities on frac take place. This is where you can be killed. There have been several people killed on US land this year just for being there when things go badly, right? And so we're ingrained that nobody enters the red zone. You never enter the red zone. We never want to do that. Since we put up the camera solution, the number of people that walk through the red zone is astonishing. It's a safety disaster for the industry, right? And you don't hear a lot about it, but I mean, the number of people killed and maimed in that workflow alone is huge, probably more than Macondo every year times 5 or 10, right? And so the cameras are an easy way to identify human movement in a place they aren't supposed to be, trigger an alarm, and you can start, you know, adjusting behaviors. Leak detection, tank volumes, the big minions that we use in North Dakota. If you look at the outside, you can see the thermal differences in the tank. You can actually extrapolate volumes, extrapolate tanks without having a dip sensor or a floater in it. And these things pan around. So instead of the company man walking around, we sort of joke that the company man maybe your company man, your well site manager, maybe a human can make 500 checks a day. And you say, no, I have the best well site managers. Okay, they can make 1,000 checks a day. So our system makes like 50,000 checks every second. And so the things we'll be able to do with high-resolution video surveillance are awesome. Anyway, we wanted to build an MVP, 24 hours. Can you build a Corva app that brings video into the cloud? Hey, you missed a slide. Or they didn't put a slide in here. I'm super disappointed. It's hidden. Slide 30. Slide 30. That one. Oh, I guess they reframed it for me. Sorry. So let me just tell you a little bit about this slide. And so what they did here on the bottom is a schematic. So the cameras basically accumulate the data, and we push that into the cloud. That's an IWS workflow. What we did on the backside was integrate that into Corva Completions through an app, and we put a processing layer on it to test some workflows, and that was pretty cool. But I think the coolest thing we did was one of our cameras was a PTZ camera, and so we created a control workflow that actually drove a camera control function back through the cloud, back down to the well site, and moved the camera. And I think that's the first time anybody's ever done that through the Corva platform. And what we were testing is, with our traditional system at the well site, you can use a tablet or your computer to actuate valves and move things with our automation control software. but we've never done it through the cloud. There are lots of security risks and other things. And so we have customers asking, could we actuate valves? Could we actually control a frac site from town? And so this was basically a pilot project to demonstrate whether we could do it through a partner like Corva that is much more broad and has a very popular interface, and it worked. So if you think Corva completions and Corva is just about pie charts and histograms and tornado diagrams, the future could be a lot more interesting with actually execution of automation controls from the cloud to the well site, data to validate that you completed those workflows just like you were there. If fewer people at the well site, not only does that cost less, but it's a lot safer. And as much as we don't like to admit it, the computers don't make mistakes that humans make over and over and over again. And so the future is definitely going to be pushing these types of workflows through the cloud to equipment on location. And again, the man and the dog sort of scenario is probably closer than you think. But in this case, it was a man and a PTZ camera. And I think we're holding our trophy there. So what's next for IWS? We're going to keep improving what we call this pressure control SIMOPS app, which allows our customers to visualize the pressure control equipment with Corva completions and all the benefits you get from Corva, which is awesome for us because we just manage our little piece and Corva completions does the rest. We're talking about adding this video surveillance app to the App Store, so breaking our MVP out into a real product. That would be exciting for this year. We have to improve our low latency API interface for third parties. So as you go through these types of exercises, there's some discovery. So one of the things we discovered was, again, developers tell you, or they tell people like me, yes, we have a low latency interface for third parties to connect to, and I believe that. And then we go through something like this, and people tell me, well, it's sort of low latency, so better latency. We're looking at higher well site bandwidth with Starlink, which I think Corva is also looking at that too. I think LEO is probably closer to us than 5G in terms of getting more bits and bytes off remote locations. It's working pretty good so far, not as good as we'd have liked. And then for the operators here, really customer adoption will drive investment decisions. So you're not the only ones that are under instructions from your boards and owners to return value to your shareholders. So all the service companies are too. And basically what they've told us, since we're not growing in activity, is operators have to make commitments for equipment, commitment for software development, and commitment for the workflows and technologies they want. And so if you're waiting around for somebody else to ask for something, you know, A, if it comes out, you're going to be last in line, but B, it may never come out. And so we're very thankful for our operators and partners, some of whom are here today, that make investments in building new technologies for all of us, because without that, we're not able to build cool things and come up here and present them to you. So we used to be able to do that in the 90s and early 2000s. We can't anymore. So with that, hope you have a great Corvacon. I'm here all day, and you know, enjoy the day.
Thanks, William. It has been incredible working with you and your entire team at IWS to build some incredible apps on the Corva Dev Center. Just as you kind of saw, that should be on every rig and frac fleet around the world, so hopefully that's coming soon. To continue this conversation around doing more with less, I'd like to introduce Michael Cortez, our Senior Dev Advocate, to talk more about how our Dev Center is acting as a hub to interconnect the industry solutions with speed and capital efficiency.
Thanks, Ryan. It's awesome to see so many devs out there I've been working with. We've been in offices whiteboarding together. So many people that have teams remote. Some of our POs that push the boundaries, push me to the boundaries. So super cool, great turnout here. But just to kind of lead into Dev Center and talking about software development in our industry, you know, over the last 2 years, Corva, it's improved Dev Center so much. It's gotten so much more robust. So it's empowering our industry, and it's doing it in big ways and new ways. And our customer base here in Dev Center, they're just building apps and building them fast. You can see in the hackathon, we're building production level apps in 24 hours, which is so cool. So it's really becoming a force multiplier for teams out there. And so we got a quick video here, and we're going to see a little bit how our partners are utilizing Dev Center to advance their operations.
So as Corva started getting a lot more traction back in 2019, the feature requests from our customers started growing, and that list became pretty unsustainable. And that's when we realized that we needed to have a way for our clients to develop their own features within our platform. Dev Center was something that our CEO, Ryan Dawson, had in his mind from the very beginning. We wanted to create an environment where our partners could develop their own applications that they were experts in, and then they could deploy in Corva. So we were creating a healthy app ecosystem, really expanded the knowledge base and what we had to offer in Corva itself. So it was a win-win for our partners and for Corva, increasing the offering that we really had.
Between Nextyear and Corva, the partnership has been going on for about 2 years, and so far it's been fantastic. I'd say the Dev Center has given us the unique ability to get our differentiating applications out to our customers faster. With that, Dev Center has been invaluable to helping our operation and the customer's operation. With everything that the Corva platform provides for our customers already, having custom Nextyear applications next to it only elevates it to another level.
Together with Corva, we're able to document in real time now what we're doing in the area of emissions and fuel use reduction. Currently, we're in our second generation development with Corva's dev group. The Corva completion engineers talk the same language that we do. They understand the issues that we're up against. So when you're developing an app and they understand the business that you're in and the challenges you have, it makes a huge difference.
Like, I don't need to take 2 years to go to market with building an app, coding, developing, testing, all that. If I can, leverage what Corva already have and just add the one piece that I'm looking for. When we couple that with, the other side on Corva's side of, you had the back-end developer, you had the front-end developer, you had the people in between, and it just opened our eyes to like how much easier our lives would be, deploying software with Corva, really.
When you put a team together and you have a short timeline, you really have to provide the guidance, the teamwork. You've got to understand what the issues are, and our team really stepped up to the plate and actually did an outstanding job. And working with the Corva development team really made it a lot easier. It really was a challenge because they had to understand our system. We needed to understand their development system. But we made it happen, and we were very pleased with the outcome.
Oh, super cool, huh? What's wild is looking at that, some of those partner companies, I had no idea how we're going to get their data into our database and our cloud and, map it to our data. And so there's a lot of challenges there we overcame, and it feels good to see stuff working and on production and customers using it. So pretty awesome. But that leads me into a little bit about software in our industry, right? So there's plenty of software out there, everyone knows that, but without, good data, software, to me, it's kind of worthless. So the number one area that I think companies need solutions is cutting edge software, but really good, clean data, right? A single source, everyone's wanting that. So our industry, it's advancing rapidly, right? And software needs are growing and growing and growing. So this is gonna require thousands of highly skilled software developers, probably petroleum engineers that learn how to code in Python and those types of things. So what we're gonna have to do is compete with other industries, right, in the future. There's Google just in the next city over, and Microsoft and all those larger companies, tech companies. So get ready. There's gonna be a competition, and be ready to go out and get that talent or train in-house, right? But throwing people and a bunch of software developers at the problem, that's the old way of doing things. Building custom software in-house, just hiring some, subject matter experts, and then you have something that probably isn't usable 5 years from now, that can't happen anymore. So there's gonna be a shortage of programmers out there. So what I'm saying is get ready for the new technology boom, right, in our industry. It's coming, it's already here. Corva's trying to drive it. There's a bunch of other companies out there, operators trying to drive it, which is really exciting. And we're seeing a lot of energy professionals learn how to code. They're learning to code in Python. They're scared of JavaScript, but I'm really trying to get them over that side also. But they're doing that to meet their most urgent business needs. But, development, it's been way down. It's sometimes unscalable using these, really robust frameworks that are, get outdated. There's a bunch of mishmash of tools. You know that if you download an app on your phone, there's probably another app that goes along with it. You get some siloed databases or no database at all. So there's just too many moving parts across development, testing, and production environments. And really, it's just too much to manage, say, for a reservoir engineer or a completion drill engineer or even a tech, right? So a lot of times it would just take months and months to roll something out, right, that they're working with. So as you know, our industry moves really quickly, and time's not always on our side. So making like custom software for your company, it may take too long. You're gonna miss your moving business target. So it's gonna leave you with unscalable software, and it's gonna leave you with a load of disposable programming knowledge. So the old way of staffing up when prices are high and laying off when prices drop, that's a thing of the past. Lean is the way to go, right? Doing more with less. So we're gonna need to put a focus on software engineering. We're gonna have to get those software engineers to back up our drilling and completion, production engineers, reservoir engineers, to start building things that are useful for them that's not exactly in a spreadsheet, but automated. We got to get that real-time data in front of our engineers so they can work on analyzing stuff instead of just managing data and finessing it. So Dev Center, to me, it's destroying the old ways that we've been working. It's breaking down the anti-patterns, and it's providing a new way for different teams to innovate and push the boundaries. And looking back at Dev Center, looking back at our partners, starting with my first 2 developers in February 2021, we've grown to over 25 to 30 developers right now actively building. And then we have about 30 or plus custom apps right now, which is really exciting. So getting people to take a look at what we got going on, building some stuff and seeing how real-time data gets automated, that's a really cool thing to see. So Dev Center is providing the tools, the architecture, most importantly, it's good, clean data coming in. And so we want you to come in, take a look, see how you can automate those proprietary algorithms that you have, or some KPI that a drill engineer has, or something like that, and see how you can do it fast. Also, you gotta understand, out there, like, there's different types of frameworks, there's different languages, Python, JavaScript, REST APIs, database management, all that is packaged in. So it makes it really easy to, with a few clicks, you can just spin something up, build it, deploy it, and it's ready to go globally. So it's just providing the app building blocks, the awesome, stunning UI that we have at Corva, a pretty robust API library, and then all the data pipelines at your fingertips. So just thinking about it, you can just easily create real-time web apps. That's the idea. Everyone usually has an Apple or Android. I'm an Apple guy, so easy to pull up on there. Everything's scalable, so when you deploy, it goes out to whatever rig you want, whatever frac fleet, whatever development field that you have, right to the oil field front lines. So developing with apps in Dev Center, like I said, it's really fast. You can see what the hackathon is showing. But also, it's improving and getting better and better and better. Documentation is getting better. Features are getting better. So it's really exciting to see where it's going, and we're really working with our teams to accelerate our future and energy. So in summary, Dev Center, it's for everyone. Most of our devs, you can say about 70% are experienced devs, but we also have drill engineers. I see some in the room here that develop in Python. They're building cool back-end apps. We have geos, reservoir engineers. So it's really exciting to see these petroleum professionals move into the development side. So in closing, whatever it is, if it's Dev Center or if it's an internal software, the takeaway is we really got to drive this software engineering teams to support our drilling completion production teams out there, especially if we want to compete and if we want to do more with less. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Michael, for that update on Dev Center, which has become a cornerstone of our partner ecosystem. Excuse me. I want to thank Baker Hughes and IWS again for taking the time to be here with us today. We hit on every one of Corva's core mission statements: community, collaboration, and connection. I hope you personally connect with an idea or two today that strikes a chord, something you can take back to your team and start implementing. And as we've seen here, we are always continuously innovating, and that will never stop. Thank you. Sorry. So right now, I just wanted to kind of tell you, so the rest of the day is free-flowing. We have a ton of panels that are going to come up this afternoon across 3 different segments. We've got lunch that will be starting soon across the street at the Powder Keg. We're going to have food and drinks throughout. I encourage you guys to check out the schedule, see if there's anything that you're interested in. If you want to talk to anyone, seek them out. We'll help you find them. There's a ton of stuff happening. And also maybe a magician or two will show up. So thank you so much.
A magician or two, okay, or two. Well, thank you very much. Man, we had some great talks.